It's good morning, everybody. I am Christine, and I'm here with my amazing partner, Lion Killa. We have blood and gloves every Sunday night. So I thought, you know what? I want to pick his brain a little bit and give y'all some background about how we got together. Boxing definitely brought us together, and all the great things that he's doing besides the blood and gloves. So how you doing this morning, Lion Killa?
I'm up. I'm up and I'm
You're up?
feeling good. Yeah. Been up since like
You have a
4:30.
cup of Joe? You have a cup of Joe?
No, I rarely drink coffee.
Oh, I need it. I need
Sometimes
it.
I get on a streak and I get some Starbucks, but other than that, generally speaking, I don't drink too much coffee.
Gotcha. I like Starbucks too, but I went to what is this? Scooter's Coffee. It's by my house, and it's really good actually.
That name is odd.
Scooters. Yeah, no, I
Scooters.
had to get going.
First,
Scooters. Yes.
the first thing that came to my mind when it said scooters is when a dog scoots across the carpet to wipe his butt. That
Yeah.
I'm like,
Okay.
no,
Okay. You're like, no,
no
thank you.
doggy.
Starbucks, please. That's funny. Now I'm always going to think of that every time I pull up, but it's okay. It's all right.
Scooters.
So it's been what, 2 years maybe that I was on your show. You had a boxing show, YouTube channel. What was it, 2 years ago?
It seems like it, but it's probably more like a year and change.
Oh, was it? Okay, yeah. My
Yeah.
my my mind sometimes doesn't calculate correctly, especially when it has to do with math. So you reached out to me, and we did a show
Mhm.
together, and it was really great. And then you took a hiatus for a little while, and you decided
Mhm.
to come back. Tell us what was going on in your mind to start up the boxing again.
Well, had a fallout with the group of guys that was a boxing community, a so-called boxing community. Um, some stuff happened. Um, and I just decided to walk away from it. I'm just really not an individual that likes to deal in drama and
Sure,
mess.
absolutely.
So the best thing that you can do as an adult is move yourself away from it.
Hmm.
Um, so I took uh, I, I stopped with the intention of stopping for good, and it just kind of called me back. So once I jumped back into it in March, that's how it's been. It's been flowing ever since. So
I'm glad it
that's how
called
I
you
take it.
back, because when it did call you back, then you called me back.
Yeah, yeah. I said we had great chemistry. We need to do this. We
We
need to do
did.
this more often. And
Absolutely.
and this is how it started. So we started Blood and Gloves, and over the last, well, I guess now 6 months, we just been developing Lion Killer. We have the podcast that's on Spreaker, also on iTunes, Google, Spotify. And so we're slowly developing and growing a great platform. Christine is a huge part of that, and also former world champion Nate Campbell is a part of that. He's my co-host on the Lion Killer podcast. So the three of us are looking to build something that is out to not only help boxing but people in life. So um, I'm a big believer in giving, giving of
Hmm.
self and not taking. You know,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
a lot of people are out for themselves. I'm just out to have some fun. So if
Yeah.
I'm trying to take anything away from it, I want to have some fun.
So
That's
so
pretty much
tell us
me.
about that podcast with Nate Campbell. He is something else. I like him. He is so knowledgeable. He's straightforward, in your face, honest, which we don't get too much because people are always afraid to like ruffle feathers, step on people's toes or whatever. But he's like, you know what? I've been there. I've done it. I know what's going on. And I love that. Tell us about that podcast and the chemistry that you two have.
Man, when me and Nate um, got up together, man, we just hit it off. It's like he's my older brother. We
Hmm.
kind of think in similar ways, but he acts more like I am when I drink about a one or two. And so he's already loose. I cut loose after one or two. We
Right.
have we have different political beliefs, We had different beliefs, we had different approaches, but we had the same end result at the end of the day. So the chemistry, it was automatic. Him and we initially started with something called 90 and a Chance, where we had him, Jesse James Lehi, Montel Griffith, and Kelly Pavlik. And now we're just gonna just go with me and him, and we're gonna have guests. We're gonna talk, man. We're gonna go from boxing to politics to porn. I don't care, just as long as we have interesting people on the show
Right.
that we can talk to. And
Exactly.
you know, like I said, it's more about giving your honesty, giving of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
than
Mm-hmm.
having to deal with narratives, having to deal with the BS that we see on a daily basis. You know, I'm a seeker of truth and fact. I'm a seeker of exploring humanity. So, coupled with Nate's brutal and blunt honesty, you can't miss. You can't miss it all.
Absolutely
So,
not. Very
yeah,
entertaining, that's for sure. And it's I love to listen to it. It's just like, man, yeah, they're right on. But I love the fact that you said that even though y'all have some differences in political views or whatever, y'all can agree to disagree, and y'all can still come together and put out some amazing product. And I think that if the whole world could think like that, like, it doesn't matter, your religion, your political beliefs, your sexual orientation, whatever, we could all coexist if we could just agree to disagree, but still respect each other. What do you think
yeah.
about that?
I think that political correctness has gotten in the way of people being human beings.
Uh,
We're going to offend each other. We're going to piss each other off.
mm-hmm.
It's like Nate says, he's an equal opportunity offender. He's going to offend everybody. You know,
I like that.
and that's the way you have to be. Um,
Right.
I, I hate political correctness. I hate the fact that people just can't be who they are. If you're racist, hey, it's better I know if you're a racist up front and outwardly than
Right.
secretly. If
Absolutely.
if you're a farter and you fart silently, I need to know that straight up so there won't be any
Warn
problems.
me,
So
please.
yeah,
Right.
because nobody wants their nostrils to burn. So it's one of those things where it's really about being open, honest, and respectful.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes respect is hearing things that you don't want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most respectful thing you can do, because if you beat around the bush, you don't
Right.
get the sum of the truth. And that's
Absolutely.
how I say, you know how it is being around me. You know how I am on the
Oh,
phone. So
absolutely. Absolutely. And
I'm a
the thing is
jerk.
that you're not a jerk. You have your opinions, and
Yeah,
sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't, but we respect each other. And the thing
yeah,
is like you said, whenever you come forward and tell people who you are and what you believe, then they know who they're dealing with, and if they want to continue to deal with you or not. But whenever
hmm,
you hide behind whatever and we don't really know who we're dealing with, then that's when the problem comes in. you
yeah,
know like you said, if you're this and that, let me know, it's okay, and I'll decide whether or not I want you in my life or not. I think the world would be a
yeah.
lot easier. So you and Nate came together, obviously, because of boxing. So boxing
Hmm.
has brought us all together, but you decided that you wanted to speak more about other subjects.
We
So
were
is that
always going to
something?
speak. We were always going to speak about other subjects. Boxing is kind of the segue into
Yes,
what we do, but
absolutely.
ultimately, to encapsulate a community, you have to cover all sorts of ground. Some people advise against it, but as much as we love boxing, as much as we're involved in boxing, I can't talk boxing 24/7. It,
Got you.
it it'll bore me. It really does bore me.
And the thing is, we've talked, offline, and now you brought it up too about people, advising against that. But you know what? I think that if we're all doing exactly what we want to do and we're happy, it really doesn't matter. You know what? If I had one person watching this right now, it's okay because I'm doing exactly what I want to do. And isn't it
Hmm.
about us being happy and satisfied and not worrying about what other people think?
Exactly, because I don't give a damn what people think. If I did that, I'd be pop, pop, pop.
I mean, honestly, we wouldn't be able to walk outside if we just can't, because we can't please everybody. We have to be true to ourselves. We have to be true to whatever's in our mind, in our hearts, and speak on the things that are important to us. I definitely couldn't walk out of the house if I was worrying about my neighbors and everybody else. So I totally get that. And I love that you're doing that. You're daring to do the things that people have advised you not to do.
Well, advice is like an asshole. Everybody has one. So you can choose to
Yeah.
hold your shit or you can take a shit. So that's how I see it, you know.
That's very true. I never thought
Yeah.
of it like that, but yeah, you're
Kind of
absolutely right.
graphic, but yes, very true.
I do have a visual.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I'm not going to get descriptive now. No.
No, but I think you're absolutely right. And so some of the things that y'all talk about are things that are important to y'all. You said politics, racism. What are some of the other things that y'all thrown around?
We haven't, you know, last week's show was the first official, you know, Lion Killer podcast. So I don't know. I
And it
mean,
was good. It was really good.
yeah, it was funny. I went
Yeah,
back and
I
watched
was
it. I'm like,
dying.
Nate is a human comedy machine. He
Y'all
missed his
got to
true
check it
talent.
out, guys. You got to check it
Yeah.
out, guys. It was
Well,
hilarious.
Nate does say he does do stand up, but you
Oh,
know,
really?
yeah.
Oh, man. I can see it.
But us pairing off on each other, it's just going to get more and more. It'll get like the conversations we have on the phone eventually.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a real natural ebb and flow between us. We just talk about all types of stuff. So you know, if anybody doesn't know, Nate is more of a right leaning guy. I'm more of a libertarian type of uh, leave me the hell alone type guy. As far as politics go, I don't co-sign the Democrats or Republicans or anybody
Yeah,
else. I just want to do what's right or what
right.
I see is competent. And you know,
Hmm.
Nate he's hard right, you know, in a lot of ways. Hates Democrats. But as far as various subject matter, I don't know. Whatever comes up, whatever the news is, hell, I could have a bad electric bill. We might talk about that. You know, we might talk about the rain in
We can
Spain.
all relate to that. Yeah, the bad
Exactly.
electric bill.
It's just there's unlimited subject matter to talk about. I mean, and I'm a real science head. A lot of people don't know that I'm a real history
You,
buff. I mean,
you
so we
are
get
great in history. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Sometimes I feel a little inadequate.
Yeah, so I mean, there's never a subject I can't call it from day to day. I don't we and you know this. Generally, I don't go into a live stream with a plan. I just do it. You know, if we
Yeah,
have a guest,
it
that's one
flows.
thing. Yeah, but you know how we do it. We don't do. I don't write questions. You know,
Right.
we just have conversations. You know, just like we're
Absolutely.
doing now. So I don't believe in structured questions. If I were a reporter, that's a different matter. If I were
Right.
looking to get a goal out of an objective as a reporter,
Hmm.
different type of format. But I just want people to speak freely, speak their mind, be honest.
Absolutely. No, I think that's great. And I'm with you. It's like there's some things that I really appreciate in the Republican Party. There's some things I really appreciate in the Democratic Party, and then there's things that I don't appreciate. So it's like if we could just like have some kind of middle ground. I mean, I know there's some, but they're just not really strong. But I'm with you. I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna follow the laws and live my life and take care of my family, friends, and my gym, and I'm good. You know, the rest,
Yeah.
we just go with the flow, you know?
Sometimes you go with the flow, but
Yeah. Sometimes
it's
you go against the flow. Yes,
there's
that's
nothing
true.
wrong with going against the flow. There's nothing
No,
wrong with holding your ground, you know, and that's the beauty of life, you know.
absolutely.
I mean, if you went with the flow every time, you wouldn't be who you are, you know.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Yes, I do correct myself. You're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've definitely not I've definitely gone against the grain many times in my life, and it got me where I am today, and I love my life at this time. I really do.
yeah. You
And
are
I
you are what your mistakes make you. That's
Oh,
how I live,
absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely. We if we don't learn from them, then what? What was it all for? We'll just make them again and won't matter.
Well, you know, Christine, a lot of people they try to crucify people for mistakes. You know,
Right.
they
Yes.
because they can't handle life. And
Right.
so I think our whole point and whole existence for living is a testimony to other people that you can do things and keep moving and keep it
Right.
going and
Right.
keep growing. I'm a regular guy. I have a job. I do business. I'm trying to grow something.
Right.
Just like anybody else. But if you settle, even after you failed, what's the point? What's the point in moving? Moving forward.
Absolutely.
So that's how I see it.
Absolutely. And we've talked about this before. For me, later in life, I realized, being happy is like the most important thing because we only get one chance. We only get one chance at life. So we've got to go for whatever it is that our heart's desire is. We got to take it and go with it. If we fail along the way, we just get back up and try it again if that's really what we want to do. Happiness to me is so important. Happiness and peace. Of course, things happen that are out of your control, but I think they make you stronger, wiser, but you stay on the path.
Mhm.
Absolutely. One thing you said a minute ago is, people want to crucify you for your mistakes. Show me somebody that's never made a mistake. Some of us, in some people's opinions, worse than others. But what does that really mean?
I
You
mean,
know?
it's not like we out here making Bill Cosby and R. Kelly mistakes. I mean,
Oh, thank God. Yes.
so
Right.
I mean, but that's how people tried. That's how people try to cook you. They think they're
Absolutely.
getting over on you psychologically. You know, I get a kick out of it because I came up in a household where the mind was the strongest muscle. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I didn't realize it until I was put in great adversity. When I got into business, when I had to sleep in my nightclubs, when I had nightclubs, had to eat expired 7-Eleven food for 6 months.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're ready to do until you have to do it, and
Absolutely.
then it's overcoming it one way or the other. Are you going to give up or are you going to push through? So
Mm-hmm.
everybody has a different journey and has different obstacles. you know uh my obstacles consistently in life have been groups of people. you know for whatever reason, I come up against people, no matter what my objective is, what my motive is usually good and positive. But a lot of people don't want positivity. A lot of people don't
Right.
want they don't want to be enlightened. And not to say
Right.
that I'm some enlightening beacon or anything, but I generally live my life to be at peace. And so if you're
Mm-hmm.
not at peace, man, piss off.
Right, right. No, I get it. And, I think a lot of people are probably threatened. I mean, you are very educated. You do speak your mind. You're a
I'm not.
go-getter, obviously. You've
Yeah.
had, multiple businesses. You're still building, and a lot of people, they get intimidated by that. So the only thing they can do is shoot negativity, or they're jealous, and they have to throw something in your way thinking that they're going to, discourage you.
But the
But,
first thing I tell people, I fail a lot. I feel all those businesses I had, I don't have them anymore. You know, uh, last business that I really had was a liquor store that kicked my ass.
mhm,
So but the thing is, I went out and did it one way or the
absolutely.
other, whether I won or lost. And so, eh, you know, whatever it is, I don't care personally,
Hmm.
but you won't stop me. I'll step over your dead body and keep it
Absolutely.
keep it walking because that's how I was raised. I mean, nothing should stop you at anything. Nothing stops you. You are busier
Right.
than me. I mean, you're gonna be gone for 16 months. I mean,
Right? It seems like it.
so she going to Arabia. So
No, one thing that I've talked about before, is women, supporting women, encouraging each other, fixing each other's crowns. But that goes for not just women; it goes for men and women. I think that we really have to support each other, encourage each other, because there's plenty of whatever we want for everybody. And we're all
mhm,
unique and different. So why not help people get to their goals? And you do that. I'm just saying, in general society,
mhm.
what is the problem with helping people? I've seen posts and, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, from different people where, I've worked so hard for what I have. I'm not going to help anyone else because they have to go through the struggle like I did and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, somebody did help you eventually. You may not be speaking on them or whatever, but somebody did help you eventually, or else you wouldn't be
Someone
where you're
always
at.
help. Someone always helps you.
Always.
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 The problem with society is, especially American society, is the arrogance of it in general. You like you have in certain cultures, you have people who always tell you, well, you got to take responsibility for yourself, and you got to overcome disadvantages and shit
I
like
love
that.
that accent.
But ultimately, you can't make excuses. But the thing is, some of us have advantages, and
Sure, absolutely.
those with those advantages, they find it very hard to put themselves in the shoes of people who don't.
Sure.
And people who don't have witnessed people trying to take from them their entire lives.
Mm-hmm.
So it grows a type of complex where the fittest survive, or survival of the fittest. So
Mm-hmm.
um, there is a lot of selfishness in this society. There's also a
Sure.
lot of altruism in this society, but the selfishness is what we see most and foremost in our social media. The
Mm-hmm.
and I had posted something the other day to the effect of most people who talk about how great their lives
Mm-hmm.
are on the cusp of suicide generally. You know,
Yes.
their lives are not what they make it seem.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with wanting help. There's nothing wrong with being honest. There's nothing wrong with it. But
Right.
people had this belief that they did it themselves. I'll never take that stand.
Absolutely. So you kind of touched on something where, we'll look at people's social media and it looks like they're, living a perfect life. And we know actors and famous people that have done that. And then they're dead, or in rehab or whatever. It's so, I had an interview, with Michelle Joy Phelps, and we discussed this. And so, on a totally different level, there are people that have been, like myself, like and she talks about it, on my YouTube channel, that have been injured very deeply. And
Mm-hmm.
whatever, as a child, as a youth, whatever. And so you feel like you have to put on a happy face, even though you're dying inside. And so, on that, there are people like that as well. They're too ashamed to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
Victims are often, feel guilty or at fault of something that happened to them that was beyond their control. I talked to a gentleman, a friend of mine, who had, endured, some sexual abuse, and, being, even a male, to be able to admit that they were sexually abused is a child, is a taboo, because men should be like, oh yeah, this was great, I was only this age and this woman and whatever. But it's not. It does hurt people, and you see it if you watch the lives of these people that have been sexually, physically, mentally, emotionally abused. You do see a pattern. And I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of times too, when I look on social media and I see these happy faces and everything, you can kind of like almost see that there's something behind that, you know.
Yeah.
When my kids were growing up in school, I would tell them, always protect people against the bully, but there's something going on in that bully's house. Why is this bully so frustrated and so angry, that he has to hurt another human being, or she has to hurt another human being? There's something there. It's deeper than what we can see. So I really try, I'm not always successful, to not judge a book by its cover, because everybody has a story, everybody had a walk, and
Well, we
I don't
naturally
want to be
do.
judged.
We
Yes,
naturally judge people
yes.
by what we see.
We
Man,
have to really think about it not
that
to.
motherfucker like he bites trees. So you judge. I mean, that's that's unfortunately that's what we do. You know, but you know, with what you and Michelle talked about yesterday, Hannah talked about on Blood and Gloves.
Yes.
Nate has been a victim of it. Um, I have I have aunts that are victims of it who are literally in their 50s and 60s still dealing with it, who have taken paths
Absolutely.
and
Me.
like behaviors that have been detrimental for them, and
Absolutely.
it takes a lifetime to overcome that. And
Absolutely.
my parents protected us so heavily, you
Hmm.
know, and I'm so protective of my children, um,
Absolutely.
because I know what I'll do
Yes.
if my child
Yes.
is ever in danger, or it's a wrap. There's no
Yes.
law
Yes.
on this earth. There are no authorities on this earth that will stop me from skinning somebody alive. And that
Hmm.
is my child is my child is the greatest thing I've ever accomplished. My kids. Um,
Absolutely.
so and I protect them more. There's a love there that can't be described. You
No,
know.
there's no describing a love between a parent, a good parent, and child. Absolutely not.
So
Nothing
if
compares to it.
we know that things happen, but if you're a
Hmm.
discerning, understanding, and wise parent, you will
Absolutely.
observe the people that you're around. You can't be 100%, but you have a gut, you have an intuition. Everybody has it. Women's may be
Sure.
a bit stronger, but it's just like now. My kid only spends the night with people who were raised with me because
Hmm.
I know their makeup. And
Right.
so there's only two people that were raised with me, and the people that raised me. So that is really the extent of my son's social outlet right now. And my oldest son, who's grown now, that's the extent. I don't
And
trust.
brag about your oldest son, please. Brag about your oldest
Oh,
son. He is so successful. He's doing great. You
yeah,
raised him so well. He's got your brain. Talk about it.
yeah.
He just graduated, and
Well, he
let's brag
has
about him.
he has his mom's brain and discipline. Um, well, he just graduated from West Point. He's actually
Yes,
my stepson.
congratulations. Hmm.
But I've been raising him since he was a little kid, 12,
Hmm.
11, 12 years old. Um, and he just graduated. He's at a base in the South, and he's becoming a ranger. So he's going to be leading a battalion of soldiers,
Fabulous.
at some point. And I think he's just getting started, and he's enjoying
Hmm.
life. So,
Good
um,
for him.
but I had to commend his mother for the emphasis on education,
Hmm.
because the same thing is going
Absolutely.
on going on with my little guy. And
Yes.
I got a little guy that's learning Spanish and English simultaneously. He
I love
can
it.
he probably reads at like a fifth or sixth grade level, and he comes to me every day. 500 times three is 1,500. He's always multiplying. I mean, that's what I value in life. I don't. All this other
Absolutely.
stuff is just kind of side stuff. But
Right.
my primary objective in this life is to make sure that those kids continue their lives and become way better than me. That's all I care about.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. I'm the
Anybody
same
else
way.
that exactly, and anybody that hates that, man, you're miserable, and we
If
know
we
you're
if
miserable.
Yeah, if we would all take care of our home and raise our kids, with whatever values we believe in, and education, this world would be so much better. But so many people are worried about their neighbors, or what's going on in the social media world, that they neglect their children at times, and I've seen it, and it's very sad. But hopefully the future is a lot brighter. Today it's good, but I just want it to get better and better. I really do.
It gets better when we put some of these people away. These
Y-
miserable people. Yeah, some people
Yeah.
need help, and other people just don't need to be around. Uh, and that's not politically correct, but that's
Right.
the
No,
truth. So, some
there are
people don't.
definitely some very evil people in the world that hurt and do things that are totally immoral. And I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Do you think that social media has helped or made things worse in our society?
Well, it's how you look at it. Um, in many regards, social media. I'll take me for example. Excuse me. My personal social media accounts have allowed me to help my genealogy research. I've been able to connect with a lot of family,
Mm-hmm.
thousands of members of my family that I didn't
Me
know
too.
existed.
Yeah.
Been able to connect them not only through DNA but through correspondence.
Mm-hmm.
We've organized family reunions, stuff like that. Been able to communicate faster with people who normally I wouldn't be in contact with. So in that regards, social media has been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Um, on the other foot, social media has gotten me in trouble. Social media has gotten plenty of people in trouble because everybody's touchy, everybody's sensitive. You can't be a normal person on social media. And
Right.
given the atmosphere to or the climate of today's society, everything is a burn. Everything is a problem. And so normal human behavior um, is often ridiculed or it's called out as something that it's not. So you you have to be careful on social media when it comes to being you, unfortunately. And
Mm-hmm.
being you comes with it comes with problems, no matter who it is. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
well, I don't like what he said. Well, he
Right.
he doesn't like rats and roaches. So we're gonna
Right.
get the rat
Right.
and roach pita together and man, and I'm not gonna live in a bubble. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can fuck with me or you don't have to fuck with me. That's how I
Right.
see it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. No, I totally agree with you. For me, personally, I feel that it can be a positive tool, but as you said, it could also be something negative. My dream, my wish is to use my little platform, my tiny platform, whatever it is, to send positivity and to bring hope and light. Because there were times in my life when I needed hope and light, and it wasn't there. So I really, in my own small way, want to be a beacon, but that's just me. I live in a fantasy world sometimes, but
nothing wrong
I
with that.
I just know what I've been through in my life, and I often wish that there would have been someone that I could have talked to or looked up to, and so I try to use my platform, for positivity. I really do.
Yeah. You know what's positive? Reproduction. That's always
Hey,
positive.
well, guess
The
what?
act of reproduction is always positive. Uh, Smurfs, they're positive.
They
Um,
are.
you know, good food is positive. I mean,
Oh man. I
so
mean, it's positive when it's going down, but then when your pants don't fit anymore, it's like woo.
yeah. Well, I
You do.
mean, that's also a matter of perception too. Depending on the culture, that is more than welcome.
Absolutely.
So
Sure.
again,
Oh,
the
absolutely.
emphasis the
Yes.
emphasis is our culture. Our culture is a stressful culture. You have to fit in all these boxes, and people want you.
Yes.
And
Right.
unfortunately, with political correctness, now the what seemed like a good thing has become the antithesis of good. You know, Now people are
I can
afraid to
agree with
say
that.
anything.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
so you sit up here, you can't say big bone. She is plus size. No, my grandmama told
Yeah.
me big bone. There's nothing wrong with being
Right.
big bone. There's nothing
Right.
wrong with being
Absolutely.
thick, but it's
Amen.
it's the psychological. And
Yes.
you can't say anything without someone getting in an uproar. I'm like, man, I mean, you take that shit and fly off.
Yeah.
And
No, you're absolutely right.
so
Different strokes for different folks, and let's just respect them all. Some people want big bone, some people want a bone. And it's
yeah.
good. Whatever's good, for you is good. It's okay.
And the other thing is, I'm a firm believer that if you live a certain way, if you want to be a certain way, I'm great with that. As long as you don't
Hmm.
impose that on me. You know,
Oh,
it
absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
respect I respect the way that everyone lives. But at
Yes.
some point, when respect becomes imposing or imposition,
Hmm.
um, you're gonna have to back up. Give me 50 feet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Respect
Yeah,
my views, respect my the way that I do things, and I respect you, and it's fine. Absolutely. Because really when people argue, they're not going to ever be able to change the other person's mind. It just
of
goes
course.
on and on and on and on. I really believe that we should lead by example. If somebody says, "Hey man, I love the way you live." Well, these are just some of the things that I do. Or do you want to know some of the things that I do? But just to say you need to live like I do or you need to do what I do is totally wrong. It's out of line.
Well, I'm like this. Hey, if you don't like brushing your teeth, shit, that's cool. Don't fucking talk to
Don't
me.
talk to me.
Listen, you put on a gas mask, while, and we'll have that
Right, right.
conversation
Yeah.
about bills later. I mean, if
That's when
your
we
breath smell,
appreciate the masks.
yeah, if your breath smells like a hot anus, I'm out. I'm not doing that. So I I just don't get people, but I
Speaking
mean,
of masks, so how long? No, 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 absolutely not. Speaking of masks, how much longer do you think that we're going to be
ano-
going through this
another year or two
pandemic? Just your opinion.
because of the stupidity of the
Hmm.
current guy,
Yeah.
the willful ignorance, cognitive dissonance, whatever you want to call it. Um,
Right.
Pandemics, if you study them, they can last decades. They just don't go away.
Hmm.
And with all the advances that we have in modern science, this should have been upended very early in its cycle.
Right.
Um, but we've constantly had a individual who has ignored, um, uh, modern science for political gain, who denies facts in order to rally a base. One of the most, if not the most selfish set of acts I've ever seen, period. And this is where in politics people have to start using common sense and start going outside of their beliefs to understand the danger of this pandemic, the potential danger. To be honest, this could really get a lot worse. 100 years ago at this time, you had the Spanish
Sure.
flu. Spanish flu killed 100 million people,
Hmm.
and they wore masks. And
Right.
so, there wasn't a lot of social distancing.
Right.
But if you go back and look at the pictures, people were wearing masks, and you see mass graves. People just stacked and piled up, and they were doing the best they could with conventional wisdom at that time. So this guy's not taking and implementing conventional wisdom, and people are dying every day, especially minorities. Minorities are dying more than anybody
Hmm.
because of a lack of access to medical care, or decent medical care. So I I could say more, but it would just be a
Yes.
theory. But I tell
Yeah.
people, if you're going to vote, if you're going to uh, participate in the system, think think with common sense. Think with your third eye and not your allegiances. Sometimes allegiances aren't the best for you. That's how I see it.
I agree. We have leaders everywhere. I mean, of our country, in our churches, in our schools, in our whatever, in every aspect of our lives. But I think we have to take personal responsibility for what's best for ourselves and our kids,
Yeah,
because nobody's going to care or protect the way we will our own homes. And that's why I said it. It starts at home. We
yeah,
have to do our part to protect ourselves and our kids, and thank God, so far, and they're being careful. A lot of my friends that I know that have had it, they are being careful, but they also have to live their lives. You still have to work. You still have to go to the grocery store. You
Yeah.
still want to see your kids or your parents or whatever. So it's just it can be a gloomy time right now, but we definitely have to see the silver lining. There have been some positives that have come of this pandemic. For me personally, have you seen any positives that have come from being quarantined or the pandemic at all?
More quality time with the family.
Absolutely.
With the hecticness of American society, people don't really spend enough time with those that they love and take care of. So being able to go on a walk with the family, being able to take your kid on a bike ride in the morning, you
Yes.
know, you get to see dead squirrels and rats and wolves and coyotes, wherever you
Rats
live.
and roaches.
No, 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 we ain't got no roaches. We ain't got no rats and
Yeah.
roaches. But I'm just saying, uh, you get to see a little nature, and you get to
Right.
appreciate. You get to stop and breathe and appreciate what you have.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
and we don't do that enough. The other benefit is that a lot of people have caught up on their Netflix, and so
Yeah, that's true. I have.
people are completely caught up on their Netflix. So
Yeah.
I think there have been some good things to the pandemic
Yes.
in that regards, but
Yes.
the bad things, right, to me, are impeding what could be good. And so we have to wake up as a society and actually, I won't say come together, but have a common thread of common sense. You know,
Sure.
that's what we need to
Sure.
do. That's that's how I see it.
Yeah, and sometimes our ruler of common sense is not somebody else's. You're like, man, it's just common sense, and they're like, what? They just what?
Well, street
They don't
smarts
get it.
and non-street smarts are completely different animals. So,
Absolutely, absolutely, it is. So for everybody that wants to follow you on everything that you're doing, tell us how they can do that.
well, first
Well,
you can go to Amazon, not Amazon. I'm sorry. Look at me screwing the pooch. You can go to iTunes, Spotify, Google, SoundCloud, all these different downloadable platforms, and download the Lion Killer podcast. You can also watch and listen to the podcast and various other content on YouTube on the Lion Killer podcast channel. So subscribe, hit the notification, the bell icon for notifications. And if you like
yes,
the content, like it. If you don't, hit that dislike button. Doesn't matter to me. So we're gonna keep it 1,000 every time. So and
absolutely.
and again, me and Christine host the show Blood and Gloves, where
Yes,
our biggest focus is on boxing, the amateur level of boxing, and we'll have pros on as well. You never know what to expect with us. And
absolutely.
also look at the Lion Killer podcast with me and Nate Campbell. Uh,
Yes.
that
Yes.
that is just controlled insanity right there. So that's what we do.
That's an adult circus.
You
You
damn
just gotta go and enjoy the show. It's good.
Yeah, because I don't even know what the hell we gonna talk about Sunday. I know we got Bronco McCart coming on
Okay.
Sunday. So and on Blood and Gloves we got I ain't gonna mess it up.
No, no, no. You know what? It's a surprise.
Yeah,
They're just gonna have to
yeah.
tune in and see Blood and Gloves Sunday
It's a
night.
surprise we said yesterday, but can't remember.
Yeah, it's okay. You are horrible.
Yes, I got problems, man. I got problems, man.
It's okay. We all got problems.
we need to get Michelle on Blood and Gloves. I like to talk to her too.
Yeah,
Definitely.
she's an extraordinary
I just like
person.
talking to
She's a
people.
fabulous soul. Yeah, she's amazing. She is definitely a role model. Most
Yeah,
definitely, she's that beacon of hope. For many men and women. So yeah, definitely,
yeah.
definitely, we got to get her on.
In 2 weeks, we're gonna have a pit
But
bull on here though. So on Lion Killer podcast, his name is Brody. No.
Oh, okay.
See, that was a
I
bad joke, but I'm just saying. He's just going.
I was like, as long as that pit bull is over there, no,
Yeah, he's
no,
going to be
that's
doing
good.
tire tricks. No. So
That's funny. No, that's good. No, I appreciate you taking the time out to come on. I wanted everybody to know who my partner was and what he's doing besides the blood and gloves and boxing. You don't ever know what we're gonna get with you. So
yeah.
so people need to know that. They need to
and sometimes you
subscribe and
can,
follow.
and sometimes you can find me on the streets of Oak Cliff selling chicken on the street. Nah.
That's where I want to be, buying some chicken.
Yeah.
We
Now
talked about chicken
again,
last night.
this chicken's not cooked, but nah.
It may or may not be on ice, but it's chicken.
No, it's like it is off of there over there off Jefferson. It's just there. So
That's oh my gosh. I'm gonna
get
stay
that
off of
chicken.
Jefferson then.
Hey, Jefferson's fun. Good food over there for real.
Yeah,
So
no, definitely, definitely. Well, I appreciate you so much. And I take off Sunday morning, but I will see you Sunday night
all right, homie.
via Blood and Gloves. Thanks, guys, for
Peace.
tuning in. Bye.